Hi, my name is Paul Arnold and I'm a qualified psychotherapist and also a trained coach. And I want to talk about how to control your emotions. And you often see these great, sports people or heroes on TV or elsewhere in real life. And they seem to have this amazing sort of calmness and ability, when everything's going wrong, they somehow seem to pull it together and keep this under control. And I don't know about you, but there's almost how do they do that? That seems a fantastic ability. And I think to a degree it is. And I think there's something about how do we manage our emotions but not be distant from our emotions. There's something about if someone absolutely completely closes off from their emotions, I think that's just as bad as someone who is emotionally totally dysregulated and goes up and down all the time. So I think there's something about we are human beings, and the being is about us having emotions, and that's what life's about. But how do we express the emotions, in a valid place and a valid time that feels proportionate? That's what we're really talking about. And basically we know that from all the theory, there's a lot of work done about affect regulation. Affect is just a posh word for emotional, and we know that is from our very earliest relationship with our core caregivers who basically give us affect regulation. So in other words, if you have a mother, shall we say, who was a good enough mother, as Winnicott will call it, who gave us, proper, affect regulation, who made us feel calm, made us feel sort of cared for and supported, it gave us a greater ability to regulate. What sort of Fonagy says, he talks a lot about this idea about if we have this ability to mentalize, this way of thinking about thinking, almost going slightly meta and seeing ourselves and being able to think about what's going on for them, what's going on for you, that also helps to control our emotions. And Shaw, amongst many other of the neuroscientists, has talked about how that very early stages of what we call non-verbal right brain to right brain attunement is responsible for developing the synaptic pathways that leads us to have, affect regulation. So basically it helps a lot if you did have a mother who basically did calm you, and give you that. But, rough figures, that's 50%. The rest of us didn't. So how do we therefore be more in control of our emotions? And I want to talk about the meaning cycle because what happens is, it's not the incident, it's not the event that triggers the emotion, it's the meaning we put upon that event. And that meaning is driven by our past experiences. So going back to childhood, going back to school, going back to the family system, these all start to make us see the world in a certain way and make us see the world in not another way. So in other words, when an event happens, if that makes us feel like I'm unlovable in this situation, I'm being rejected, no one likes me, it's going to trigger a different type of emotional response than if you see as being something else, like, shall we say, they are being disrespectful to me. You may get a feeling therefore of anger and hostility. So in other words, it's the meaning we put on it rather than the event it happens. And when that meaning happens, the emotion triggers in. And we very often live in certain types of emotions and not in others. And basically when that happens, then what then happens out of the emotion comes some reaction and then comes a result from that. So it's very interesting to look at that stuff. Now, strategies to help. One of the things I always recommend is keep an emotional diary. Notice what are the most common emotions you go to within a week. Maybe you go to frustration, maybe you go to depression, maybe you're one of the people who goes to joy a lot. But just be aware, what are your most common places? And then you can start to think, why do I go there? And then when you've had an incident, you won't be able to do some time, but afterwards, maybe in the shower, think, what was the meaning I put on which made me react like that? And then you want to start looking at what are the triggers? What makes you act in a certain way? If you're with, say, a partner who constantly criticizes you and you then go into attack, and then before you know you're sleeping in separate rooms, maybe you got to start saying, hey, what's going on here? And maybe together you can unpick that, or maybe you just need to keep yourself out of the firing line more. Whatever is going to be a place of keeping you safe in that space. But realistically, this is where psychotherapy plays a fantastic role, because we can obviously look at what are the root causes for the emotions that you have and start to do work with you to help process those. And from doing that, we also do a lot of work about helping to build your own affective regulation. We are trying to sort of manage that regulation in the room with you as well. So anyway, I hope that helps.